French carmaker Renault. Well, to find out more about the latest developments, let's cross over live to Tokyo to Michael Penn. Michael, we're hearing there that new accusations filed against Carlos Ghosn this Monday. What are they all about?
Well, the precise nature of any completely new charges aren't clear at this point. However, what he may be rearrested for is essentially the same charges, but carried forward into more recent years. So on this basis, they're going to hold him for probably another 22 days, as they're allowed to under Japanese law. It does not seem that it's a radically new set of charges that we're aware of at this point, but certainly it's extending the range of what they have already just charged him with.
Indeed, as you say, just very shortly before, he was officially charged with that misreporting his pay for a period of 5 years by up to a half. Tell us more about those official charges.
Right. Well, it's very interesting because what he's being charged with is somewhat less grievous than it initially appeared. You know, in the first days of this crisis, it appeared that he had been falsifying his records and reporting illegally that he wasn't not all of the salary that he was getting. But what's emerged in the meantime is that the main issue is essentially about money which was going to be deferred until after he stepped down as chairman. And what the prosecutors are saying is that this money that was to be deferred for future payments is something that he needed to report, and therefore he broke the law, and therefore he's subject to this prosecution. But what Mr. Ghosn apparently is arguing, although we haven't heard from him directly, is that these payments in the future were not yet completely settled. They weren't completely set, so that his understanding was that he didn't need to report these future payments.
And finally, for now, Michael, Nissan, of course, also formally charged for corruption there. You know, what does that mean for the company?
Well, that's probably the biggest news out of this, because the fact that Mr. Ghosn and Mr. Kelly were indicted is not such a big surprise. But the fact that Nissan itself as a corporation has been indicted means that they're not going to be able to get off scot-free, because at the earliest stages, it seemed like Nissan's new leadership was completely saying this had nothing to do with us. This was all Ghosn, and that this is we wash our hands of it. But obviously, with them being also indicted, that line is not going to be able to hold, and Nissan itself is going to have to explain how is it possible that Mr. Ghosn and one foreign colleague could file their salary to the Japanese stock exchange and have no help and no support and no authorization from the company.
Okay, Michael, we'll leave it at that for now, but thanks indeed for giving us that insight into the situation there. Michael Penn reporting for us from Tokyo on those, firstly, official